This is old Claude again. I want to talk with you today about powerful choices, and I want to use a secular illustration to start with. And during the Civil War, an officer came to General Ulysses S. Grant and was questioning the large expenditure required or asked for by General Grant for an order that he had given. And he said, "Are you sure you're right?" He asked General Grant that. "Are you sure you're right?" And the response immediately was, "No, I'm not sure." But in war, anything is better than indecision, and we must decide. If I'm wrong, we shall soon find out and can do the other thing. But not to decide wastes both time and money and may ruin everything. This comes from the book Ulysses S. Grant on Leadership by John A. Barnes. And we go ahead and extrapolate from that. Quick and powerful decision has been the gateway to success in every field of life. And Joshua told the children of Israel in verse 24:15, "And if it seem evil to you to serve the Lord, choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve." Then he gave them a couple of options and concluded by saying, "But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." And I think we have a lot of people today. They're just fence sitters. They generally believe in the Lord, but they don't really commit themselves to Him. And to believe in the Lord in the way that the New Testament uses that word is the Greek word is pisteuo, and the way the Greeks used that, and the way it would have been used to express what Jesus said, as it was written in the Greek, would be like if we had a chair here. We can illustrate with a chair. With Western thought, we could look at that chair and we can conclude that, yes, I believe that chair will hold my weight. But in Greek, believing in that chair doesn't operate that way. In Greek, to believe in that chair, you must go and sit in it. You put your weight on that chair. All right? That demonstrates your belief in the fact that that chair will hold you up. Okay? To believe in Jesus Christ is not to have just a theoretical knowledge about Him. I mean, you can believe that He was born of a virgin, suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, dead and buried, and third day rose from the dead. You can believe all that and not be committed to Him. You still run your own life. Now in Luke 11:23, Jesus said, "He that is not for me is against me." So you can't have it both ways. If you belong to Jesus, you need to commit to Him. If you say you belong, you need to commit to Him and settle the issue. I could wish for everyone that you had an experience similar to mine in 1955 when I surrendered my heart to the Lord. When my dad and I had gone to a camp meeting north of Pensacola, my home, and that afternoon I was soundly convicted and yet said no to the invitation. And then that afternoon, after we had left the camp meeting location, then we stopped by Dad's old home place where he had an invalid brother and sister who still lived on the old home place. And they had some livestock there, and I was over at out by the barn just kind of moping around because I clearly heard the Lord say to me, as clearly as He's ever spoken to me, said, "Claude, you said no to me for the last time." So I went back over to the house, and I didn't initiate the subject, but Dad said to me, "Claude, would you like to go back to the camp meeting service tonight? And I said, I sure will. I sure would. And and so there, during the service and afterward, when the evangelist gave the invitation, I went forward. And I perhaps was the first one to respond. And then they someone dealt with me and led me in the sinner's prayer and all that sort of thing. And then immediately afterward, I felt like the Lord wanted me to preach. And I said yes. I'd learned my lesson to say yes. That was June the 19th, 1955. And I'm speaking now as a direct result of the decision I made way back then. Now, I don't know, excuse me, how much your life has advanced, but you need to say yes to the Lord. If he's been speaking to you, and if he hasn't been speaking to you, dear friend, you might be in very serious trouble. But if he's been speaking to you, it's high time you said yes. It's high time you've got yourself to a private place or go to someone and ask them to pray with you that you might accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Today is the day of salvation. And do not harden your heart as the Jews did in the day of their provocation. All right? Bless and know you.